I was a superintendent of the Naval Observatory, so I understood how big the universe was, and I was open-minded to that there could be other life outside of the Earth. And then, as a one-star, I had actually two jobs. I had a Pentagon job, and then I also was an operational commander. So there's a one-star job in Stennis Space Center, Mississippi, called the Commander of the Navy Meteorology and Oceanography Command. And that's all the folks that did what I did. So there's enlisted aerographers that do weather forecasting on aircraft carriers and shore stations. And there's other folks that, again, advise for anti-submarine warfare. And so all these, about 3,000 people, civilians and uniformed, do things like ocean mapping, weather forecasting, ocean forecasting, and I was in charge of them all. And so I'm in my office that one day, so I was splitting time between the Pentagon and DC and this office in Stennis. And one day I get this email on the Navy's secret network, SIPRNet, and it's from my boss's operation officer. I was reporting to a 4-star admiral, U.S. Fleet Forces Command. His operations officer was a 2-star. And the email was sent to all the subordinate commanders. This is at least 20 flags and SESs. All the deputies are copied on it. And the title of it is Urgent Safety of Flight Issue, all caps. And the body of the email said, if any of you know what these are, tell me ASAP. We are having numerous near midair collisions, and if we don't stop it, we're going to have to cancel the exercise. And attached to the video was the now famous leaked Go Fast video. You know it, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so UAP, F-18 pilots captured video of this UAP zorching over the water. There's no flight control surfaces or propulsion means that are visible. It's just a little round sphere. And then the pilots are all going crazy, and other videos have mentioned how there were multiple ones out there. And I knew right then and there that was not ours. We don't have technology like that. I was read into a lot of SAPs, to the best of my knowledge, and we would never do that in a training range. Especially aircraft carrier workups are so compressed. They have to do all these things. The pilot's got to get certified. They got to land so many times on the carrier. They got to do all these things and certify to go deploy. So throwing out advanced technology in a training range during a pre-deployment workup just doesn't happen. I mean, people will get fired. So, and of course, we have testing ranges to do that. That's of course. So I knew that wasn't ours. I also had been read into all the threat, our adversaries' capabilities. I knew that nobody else had that. And so I knew right there, that was something not ours. Not human, off-world, whatever. It just wasn't ours. But the next day, that email was wiped from my computer and my deputies and everybody else. So, okay, it's gone. Wow, I wanted to save that thing. It was interesting. And come to find out, I go to monthly meetings at my boss's headquarters in Norfolk. And we always talk about, staying up with the training cycle, and safety issues always came up. And this was a big safety issue. The ops officer said so. And my job as the chief meteorologist in the Navy, another one of my hats, was safety of flight. And so we get into the next monthly meeting, and no one brings this stuff up. No one's talking about a safety issue almost canceling this major training event.
The honest answer, I'm not sure exactly what it is, other than there is obviously an anomaly. There is something in that area, in that region, and in that airspace that causes GPS to malfunction.
I mean, when you say GPS malfunctions, you're talking the GPS is telling you are in one location, but you're actually in a it's not even
Correct.
close.
Or it just completely malfunctions and does not operate. Think about it. We've had instrumented balloon, helicopter, airplane, and advanced rocketry experiments with sensors, along with drones, sophisticated drones, that have all malfunctioned above the triangle in that region of the property. Lunasonde, who is a defense contractor, has a very sophisticated platform in in looking at that area, even saw anomalies in that region of the triangle and the mesa. There have been instances where time has been manipulated, where we've seen, the time itself, there's been a shift
What do you mean by
a
that?
quarter a second, where the data ends up being altered or manipulated to a degree that is not easily explainable. I mean, it is baffling to all of the experts. Everyone who comes out to the property and sees what unfolds ends up scratching their heads, and to have the best LiDAR, photogrammetry, and other experts that continuously see these strange things occur somewhat simultaneous with UFO or UAP activity as well. I mean, we had a situation above the triangle where we were launching rockets, of course, one of numerous occasions, and a prominent UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, ends up appearing, and then what happens within minutes following? The Black Hawk helicopter comes right over the mesa, descends over the property, and just hovers right over the south field. This isn't above the men. This is right there, low hover above the field south of Homestead 1 and the command center. This is late night, unmarked, not transponding, and as the men would describe it, I mean, it was a menacing presence on that property immediately following a UFO sighting. For whatever reason, that region of the property, that region of the triangle, which is not far away from where I saw the UFO, the 40 to 50 foot long gray silverish disc appear and maneuver in extraordinary ways, seems to be a hot spot, seems to be a center of gravity for activity within an expanse of property that is hosting a diversity of incidents and activities.
There was a captain on a Navy contract vessel back in '62 or '63, and before he died, he contacted me. Great guy. And he had been, they were testing the Atlas rockets that were intercontinental ballistic, but these didn't have nukes on them. They were testing the rocket and guidance systems way back. And they had had a lot of UFO sightings because the ETs were watching how we were developing and kind of this breakout speed with thermonuclear weapons and intercontinental ballistic, Cold War. And one night, they had an object on radar. It was triangulated. They had on ship radar. So the captain has this guy say, hey, look, we have this boogie. And then it got confirmed from the command center. And they said, because they were able to do that, unfortunately, they triangulated it, and it was hit with some kind of weapon. This was '63. And it dropped, boom, like a rock right into the South Atlantic Ocean. So he was vectored over to the estimated point of impact and was there to retrieve it. And I have his whole story. And he never wanted to come forward because even when he had to have surgery once, they had an intelligence guy in there when he was under anesthesia to be sure he didn't talk about this. But I have his whole information. So what happened is that when he got to the site, there was about a 6x6 pod, and they pulled it up on the ship. And it wasn't the whole craft. The whole craft had gone down, but apparently there was some sort of one molded thing, and there were four, I'm going to use his language, little men that looked like the color of a Sicilian, kind of brown, but 39 inches tall, no hair, and also no external ears, no pinna, flaps, very fine featured. But the reason he contacted me, and this is why this is so funny, I've debriefed over 1,000 men like this. He said, I can't figure out how they got in and out of their uniforms. So they had a one-piece uniform. Now, no zipper and no buttons, and no visible way they could get them out of this thing. And he says, how do they put them on? I said, well, they don't need a zipper or a button because they are kind of materialized around them and then dematerialized off using this technology, this very advanced transdimensional physics. And he went, oh my God, I would have never dreamed. I said, no, I mean, it's how they're doing it. So this is why people who encounter an actual ET craft or the EBENs, extraterrestrial biological entities, and they see even their clothing, none of it tracks because it's so far advanced.
The mesa is a very unstable environment. The rocks, very unstable. Those boulders at the base that you see came from the top.
Okay.
Every time that we dig, that we conduct any type of excavation or exploratory activity and disturb the earth, it's very dangerous. We see material come down. It's a dangerous environment. We also don't want to damage the very technology or artifact or whatever may be buried in the mesa that is unnatural, that may be connected to the strange activity. The metallic substance that was recovered through the biopsy, through the drilling exercises that was analyzed by the University of Utah and shown to be, not naturally occurring, and according to Dr. Taylor and others, to be matching the composition of the same material that would cover the space shuttle, that would shield a craft at entry, from extreme heat. That type of material that has been extracted from the mesa is real. It accompanies something else. I mean, I believe that it's just the tip of the iceberg of what may lie beneath, and we don't want to damage the very thing that may hold the key to getting the answers. So we're having to conduct a very careful biopsy and probing effort in the mesa due to both the health and safety concerns of the instability of the environment coming down on us literally in the middle of it, and also the fact that we don't want to damage the very object or the material that may lie within. It's like, imagine if there's a Stargate, to use a science fiction example. If there's a 1,000,000-year-old Stargate that has some type of advanced technology that is involved with the UAP activity and the other strangeness that seems to be triggered with high frequency in the area, and that is somehow it's buried in that mesa, or there's a base. We don't want to damage, we don't want to blow up the very technology of the very device that may hold the key to understanding the nature of what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I completely understand. I mean, it seems indestructible. When I saw that drill go in there, and it just got a little bit of substance and it stopped the drill. Yeah. I mean, how do you sleep at night? What do you think is what do you think is in there?
I don't sleep at night. I hardly get any sleep. I'm hell-bent on getting the answers. Like I've said, I want the answers more than anyone. I'm putting my money and my reputation where my mouth is, and I want to come in aggressively and get to the bottom of it. But I don't want to be so aggressive that we end up damaging the very thing that we're trying to unearth.